Hello, good people and shipmates. Lucky Man or Lucky Mies 205 over here, and this time we're gonna review Ironblood Submarine U-37, one of the most successful submarines by tonnage from World War II. Now, I did some history research, and is there some kind of references closely to our beloved submarine over here, and the closest one I can think of, well, perhaps a cousin, is from 190 from the World of Warships, which happens to be Type 9C-40 series submarine in World of Warships. But because she's a Type 9, I think she could be close enough to give some hint how she looked like. Although Type 9C-40 is, according to the World of Warships description, largest in this class. I don't know how, but no, well, let's just say, according to the I'm gonna read this quote from the Wikipedia. According to the U-37, German submarine U-37 1938. German submarine U-37 was a Type 9A U-boat of the Kriegsmarine during World War II. The submarine was laid down on 15 March 1937. There's a long name of the shipyard, but I'm gonna call it Weseryard in Bremen. Launched on 14 May 1938 and commissioned in 4th August 1938 as part of 6th U-boat flotilla. Between August 1939 and March 1941, U-37 conducted 11 combat patrols, sinking 53 merchant ships for a total of 200,063 gross-registered tons, and 2 warships. The British Hastings-class sloop HMS Penzance, and the French submarine Sfax. And French submarine Sfax. Sfax was a French Navy redoutable class submarine of the M6 series, commissioned in 1936. She participated in World War II, first on the side of Allies from 1939 to June 1940, and then in the Navy of Vichy, France, until a German submarine mistook her for an Allied submarine and sank her. U-37 was then withdrawn from frontline service and assigned to training units until the end of the war. On 5th May 1945, the U-boat was scuttled. U-37 was the 6th most successful U-boat in World War II in terms of tonnage sunk. Now, her armament is 6 torpedo tubes, 4 on the bow and 2 stern, 22 torpedoes, 1 10.5 cm SKC-32 naval gun, and 2 anti-aircraft guns. Which is rather interesting, and there's also a picture of 37 in dock, but because how this is some very interesting text over here, so I think I'm not gonna show this over here. By the way, U-37, very successful submarine in World War II. Reminds me of that one submarine from the Ironblood, but I can't recall the name right now. By the way, U-37. Hold on, I forgot to add the stats on my screen. Just a momento. Now then, let's start with the HP, then we go with the torpedoes, and then we go with the submarine range, was it? Hunting range. According to the Wikipedia, it is called a submarine hunting range. And then the oxygen, which is the most important to all submarines. Now then, if you reach fully 125 and give her an oath, you can actually reach her base HP from level 125 to 1590 to, according to the screen right over here, 1680, which means you can actually survive a couple of hits. But I highly recommend to actually avoiding getting hit by any, let's just say, sap, if the enemy has sap, or HE. Really good HE hit can actually devastate HP away, and she is sunk fairly quickly. Now as for the torpedoes, 578, not bad. Maybe perhaps not bad compared to the other submarines. Right now, I'm not sure about the comparison. The others, but very decent good amounts. Torpedoes, that's why submarine. Now as for her hunting range, if we go max level 5, which is a very peculiar shape. Almost full box, but then we have one empty slot over here. Which is rather very interesting choice, I have to admit. But close enough, very perfect cube shaped. Hunting range, not bad at all. Now, if I recall, yes, oxygen. The oxygen works in a way that if you go with 280s, if you add a dot between 1 and 8, means she stays underwater closely 22 seconds. This is based upon my testing is how the oxygen works, thanks to the submarine, was it 110? Enigma Shark from the Iron Blood. Meaning that she stays underwater just 20 seconds. Now if you give her snorkel, let's just say, giving her extra 8 seconds, means she can stay underwater just somewhere very impressive 31 seconds if we add every second, every point on the stat, meaning she stays fairly long enough underwater, which means she is safe. Of course, I also have to point out the luck stat also affects the ship performance. The ship's luck stat affects the ship's probability of landing and avoiding regular hits and critical hits, meaning her luck stat is 72, which is very good. Improves her performance on battle and also survivability. Next up is her torpedoes. Armament. Well, I have to admit, the secondary gun is decorations purposes, unfortunately. You can add some really good ones over there, but just 85% is not good, based upon personal experience. Now as for the torpedoes, 125% and 125%. Well, very basic. There are some higher ones over there across the Azur line submarine fleets. But it is only a matter of time when we find one. Now as for her skills, shall we? Oh, she doesn't have Augment module yet, but perhaps somewhere in the future she will get one. Now, let's start with the Westward Trident. Increases this boat oxygen by 20. points and damage against light armor enemies by 15%. When this boat resurfaces, fire special torpedo barrage. Now this is a base, this is skill's own barrage, so I don't know yet how this look like. But then we have Wolfpack formation U-37. Increases this boat's speed by 3 and reload by 18%. For each Ironblood submarine in the same fleet, increase this boat's torpedo evasion and accuracy by 6%. Now, increase this boat's speed by 3 and reload by 18%, I have to admit, which is very helpful. And then we have All Out Assault number 2, activates All Out Assault immediately after entering the battle. If the limit break shows us how does it look like, improve All Out Assault. Very good shaped. Very hefty torpedo size barrage, I will admit. Looks very good. You can either have it on the flagship spot or somewhere next to the flagship. Very hefty barrage. Now let me just upgrade this one over here. Here we go. Now hunting range is level 4, not bad at all. So she is not bad submarine. She is a very decently good submarine, very good choice. Something what I would recommend. But if you want to get 37, she is available in a merit shop by 20,000 points, or if you play Inverted Ortent from the War Archives, drops after defeating D3 boss 60 times. Meaning you have a lot to grind in the War Archives if you want to get her by free. Oh, you can actually get her in special constructions if the Wikipedia is correct. If we go to the War Archives and access merit shops only and Inverted Ortent, so yeah. Wikipedia seems to be slightly outdated. But according to this, Inverted Ortent grind from War Archives and merit shop. And you have to be following merit shop, let's just say regularly, once it resets. And hefty price, 20,000 points. So you have to grind exercises quite a lot. Now as for this case, I think my equipment is going to be Type 95 Submarine Torpedo and Ironblood's G7E. Well, Type 95 is from the Sakura Empire and G7E is from the Ironblood. Now I have improved storage battery, giving her evasion 15 points, auxiliary power source, increase hunting range by 2 if maximum level, and also improve snorkel, giving her more oxygen. Oh! And now we have Westward Trident. 20 points, meaning 2 seconds more, meaning she can stay underwater, let's just say 33 seconds? Tops? But once I have done a couple of main campaign runs with the 37, I will give my final opinions about that. Now for the fleet I'm gonna run her in is going to contain, well that's an oddly phrased, U-552 and 73. I think I have said my piece, now let's get to my final opinions about this well-successful submarine. Alright everyone, lucky man voice over here. And yes, U-37 Type 9A Submarine from the Iron Blood. I have to admit, she seems fairly very good submarine. Now, little clumsy side from my side is that I forgot to actually review her skins. Now, starting from her base skin, very simple design, very simple design. There's nothing wrong about it, and simple design, nothing much. If you have noticed, some recent Azur characters, they tend to have some very, let's just say, wide variety of background design. But 37 is fairly old, and it is very, as I mentioned, simple design, and I appreciate that. Now, as for her New Year's Nightingale, how do you pronounce the name? Well, simple design, very simple. That's all I can think of. Very simple design. Perhaps cute. Little horns, little cat, couple menus, and very interesting is adding that horn on her head as a decoration. And the kimono design, very good, very good. Cute was on my tongue. Now, and the next one, her latest one, is keeping peace in the streets. Now, I have to admit, I wasn't first interested about the design, but when I learned that the motorcycle she is sitting on is a very special design, that even one of my friends mentioned that perhaps the artist really knows stuff about these motorcycles. That's why the artist perhaps also picked this very rare motorcycle. And I am not expertise about these motorcycles and stuff, but I'm, let's just say, slightly disappointed myself to not getting this skin that is picturing this somewhat rare motorcycle, miniature rare motorcycle from the IRL, and added to the game. But also very good design nonetheless. But now, as for the character itself, well, I have to actually, this comes to bite me in the very good reasons. This fact is that my choice for the torpedoes also affects my final opinions about the performance of the submarines. Although G7 is slow, but because its acoustic or homing capabilities, it can do some really good stuff. And now that we have ultra rare G7E improved, fires faster and also slightly more damage, is something I highly recommend. But then again, you have to actually grind a lot about Operation Siren and those famous or infamous blueprint designs that you can actually build this ultra rare torpedo for your submarines. Now, I have seen somewhere clips of torpedoes that can actually go decently fast, and I am not sure what type of torpedoes are they, and I highly recommend having those torpedoes that aren't slow but actually, well, let me fixed my statement. Try to find torpedoes that are fast enough that can deal good amount of damage when they hit. Now, although G7E, as I mentioned before, homing capabilities is fine if there are plenty enemies, but that ability can sometimes bite if that enemy tends to be destroyed before the torpedo actually get there. It's gonna be a clear miss for the homing capabilities and the torpedo just drifts away from the rest of the enemies. So yeah, I highly recommend having very simple, strong and fast torpedoes you can actually find in the game. Right now, while I made this video, I am not sure which one is the best ones, but I try my best reminding myself to find, doing some research to find some good ones to bring better performances to the submarines. Anyway, she can work as a flagship as well. The reason is I'm very confident that her all-out assault fires plenty torpedoes enough to do some very good damage. Now, as for her augment module, there's a hit and evasion crit rate. A crit targeting in a dagger increases this ship's torpedo crit rate by 10%, which is what I highly recommend. Well, it depends on the submarine, perhaps. But it's only a matter of time when 37 gets her own augment module, and we will see what type of upgrade it does to one of her skills. Well, Westward Trident, perhaps. I don't think Wolfpack formation needs some type of any improvement at all. But the Iron Claw tend to actually enjoy increasing its damage against light armor enemies. Well, they are merchant hunters, so perhaps from there, and perhaps one or couple of warships got sunk, including Submarine. What? But anyways, I'm very confident that she's a very good flagship, and she, with this little equipment I have, improves snorkel, and with the Westward Trident, increases disposed oxygen by 20 points. She can actually reach somewhere 33 seconds underwater, which is something I personally recommend because she is more useful the longer she stays on a battlefield. Perhaps it also depends on what type of enemies you are fighting. And because she, well, yet again, increasing damage against light armor enemies. Perhaps somewhere, if the boss happens to be some kind of destroyer or light cruiser, she could work there, but as a vanguard ships, light or cruiser mob fleets, she could work there as well. But I don't understand what makes in this footage I have in the background video, 552 did more damage compared to 37 and 73 some reason. And she will come in, she will be reviewed in the future. We will get there. But I will try to change my torpedo layouts, actually. Try to find out some way better performances. That's the only problem I currently have. Other than that, well, as for the secondary gun, it might be decoration, but I would recommend either AP or HE. Or perhaps some really good ones you can find. I'm not sure which one is a good one for the submarine with the low efficiency. But let me know in comments down below if you know what type of secondaries you would recommend the submarines have. You could, if you don't want to use 37, yes, 37 as a flagship, you could give her some type of auxiliary that increases her torpedo and reload. Something like a Sakura Empire type 93 pure oxygen torpedo, which happens to be an ultra rare. But this is all I can actually think of right now. She's a very good submarine, there's nothing wrong about her. If you have a chance, get her. She's a very good choice. I will highly recommend having her in the future events and, well, campaigns and perhaps Operation Siren. The only thing she requires is just finding a very good submarine combination, which can actually improve her capabilities as well. She just requires a very good commander who knows how to run proper Iron Blood U-boat fleet. But I think that's all I actually think of right now. If there's something I miss, let me know in comments down below. My name is LuckyMias205 and you enjoyed this type of content. Subscription is one thing, and remember to hit the bell icon as well. Thank you so much for watching, and this is the end for this video. I hope to see you next time. Please take care of yourselves, and see you next time. That's the proper ending.